Welcome to Untamed Blossoms, the podcast where we celebrate the untamed journey of womanhood. Here, we tell the stories of incredible women who have embraced their authenticity, inspiring others to do the same.
From entrepreneurs to artists, activists to adventurers, we share triumphs, challenges, and the beauty of self-discovery. These are the stories of women blazing their own trails, breaking free, and blooming unapologetically.
Join us to connect, be inspired, and celebrate the power of women's stories. Together, let's rewrite the rules and embrace our wildness.
Welcome to Untamed Blossoms. I'm your host, Amanda Riley.
And I'm Christy Riley. Welcome to the show, everybody.
It's been a rough last, let's call it 5 calendar days for you.
I was hacked.
The digital world that you love so much.
That I loathe. I should, I guess I'm going to have to, I keep attracting this to myself, okay? I keep saying that it doesn't serve me and our energies don't collide and, and I hate it. All of those things are true. However, I feel like I keep inviting these things into my world. I don't know if the fire horse energy is embracing, giving me permission to leave it behind, leave social media. And I over the weekend, I was hacked, everyone, on Facebook. Actually, they hacked my Meta business account, which means that they got my Facebook account and my Instagram account personal. We still have access to Untamed Blossoms. I had a little doggy account that's gone on Instagram for little Willie. And so all that's missing, that's anything that was linked to my personal account. These master genius evil minds really know what they're doing. And I did have multiple step authentication.
Yeah.
But they were able to hack my email and get the code in the middle of the night to change the email on the account and my birthday and my phone number. So by the time I went to recover the next day, which was less than 12 hours from when they did this, was like 8, there was nothing recognizable in the Facebook world to allow me to even recover the account. So it was completely lost. And because Facebook has a policy that when you set up a new account, you can't just spam a whole bunch of people. So you're limited on how many friends you can request in a day's time, which is like 5. Mm-hmm. So I tried to automatically just friend everyone that popped up on my phone, at least, and put out the word. But alas, only like 5 people got added. And I didn't know that until after the next day. And so fortunately, some people thought it was fishy and called me before they sent money. Other people,
because they basically hacked you and started putting all this fake shit up for sale at
saying
a very
that I had a
price.
dying uncle. Put my face on a photo that wasn't mine. So I don't have an uncle. I don't know who that man is in the photo. I don't have a sick uncle. None of that was true. People who knew me closely knew it was a fake right away. People who, that's
you lose
the
touch.
Good and the bad of social media is that you can be friends with somebody from 20 years ago and you're still friends with them unless you've unfriended them, which I don't really do. I just let them ride. If they're not I only unfriend people that either I want to disconnect from or that I had an issue with or it's painful, whatever that is. But that's been very few. Most people I'm still friends with. So it was, I did get somebody who contacted me who was like, bitch, I want my money back. And I'm like, hey, I was hacked. Wasn't me. So I hope people, if you're listening, I'm sorry, was not me. I've been hacked. I do have a new account, but the recovery of this account, what I'm being told, is going to take months. But I kind of want to be done.
I don't blame you.
I kind of want to be off of social media altogether. I'm one of those people that can quickly be found doom scrolling. That's the funny story about me is my mom said this about my brother and I, my middle brother, Doug. She's like, if there was ever a TV on when you were small, you were like some sort of fucking hypnotized moth to a flame, mouths open, you stop hearing people, you zone in on the TV and you're like, nobody can get to you. And even today, like I'm way less prone to that, but I'm so easily distracted by a screen and TV. And so I find myself, if I get on social media, I can lose an hour really fast.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, it literally is like I'm in some sort of a stupor.
Yeah, like a trance.
Yeah. And Santa's like, sometimes I'll be saying stuff to you and you can't even hear me. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, to me, that's mortifying. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? I would, you know me, I would way rather personally connect than be on
Right.
a screen. But finding myself sucked into that level, into that world is frightening.
Well, maybe it's just a sign that it's time to, we have our Untamed Blossoms account. You can always leverage that if you want to check some things out.
Right.
But, it's about to be spring and summer anyway. You're going to be so busy. It's just a good time to test it out, you know?
I was already getting rid of TikTok because of that whole drama with their new user agreement. Yeah. Which was shitty. So, I just feel like I'm being pushed in that direction. And I feel like that's kind of how I want to respond. So it has pushed me into technological hell of resetting all my passwords, two-step authentication. I don't know why I can't say that word. And all of the things that I loathe. And in the middle of that, I'm still getting texts from people regularly. Now, I think that a lot of their sales stuff has been taken down, has been flagged and removed as fraud. But the account, I still can't get to the account. So I think enough people now has reported it that they've kind of stolen as much money as they can from my friends and family, unfortunately. And it's starting to all kind of, I'm hoping it's almost over. But even last night, I got 8 people texting me, hey, are you selling them? Hey, so I'm constantly on the phone texting people like, don't send any money.
It's not real.
It's exhausting. Like I was exhausted all weekend from all of this. I was worried about people and not just worried about what they thought about me, but a lot of these people are sending through Venmo and all in Zelle and PayPal. There's no recourse. You can't get your money back. You just
have to fight it with your bank, really.
Right.
And that's a huge pain. So,
but I think I'm going to have to change my MO and just be like, I limit my contact with technology to my liking and our tolerance of each other. I think technology and I have a certain tolerance limit, and I think we've exceeded that. And I need to take it back to a basic tolerance level. Yeah. Which may end up being a flip phone at some point.
As long as you get a slide up full keyboard so we can text appropriately, I think it's fine.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted on my saga, but I'm really struggling with all of it. And, not knowing what's real on all these social media pages. And I just feel like it's all getting dark. Just all getting dark.
I mean, I read this article the other day about how AI has been encouraging some people to literally end their lives because it is learning their personalities. And it's kind of like, yeah, man, that's what you want to do. I mean, sure.
You should go for it.
And between that and just like even the picture of you that was put together through AI, I mean, it's going to get, this will be the end of us.
Gonna get dicey. My
there's no regulation on it.
Right. My son and daughter-in-law don't want their baby's face on social media. I don't blame them. Like, who keeps them from stealing that baby's identity on these platforms? Like clearly these people are really, really intelligent and they got money from, and just so everybody knows, never the same Zelle, never the same email, never the same PayPal, never the same. And we're talking probably, I don't know the total count, but I would guess hundreds of people sent these people money. And from my friends list, which is so sad, but everybody that I've talked to so far, not one account has matched. Yeah. They've not sent money to not a single same account. So, they're clearly masterminds with what they're doing. And it's just, use your genius for good, people, not evil.
Like, go
so
on
sad.
Some student loans and some medical debt. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Help some bitches.
Some shit like that.
Oh,
why you got to be out here?
Right.
I'm not going to talk about this weather. I'm leaving for Florida tomorrow, bitches.
Going to Florida tomorrow.
The first plane ride in over a year.
Yeah, girl.
I mean, I used to take like 3 to 5 trips a year.
Right.
So this is pretty bonkers, but I am so excited to be in the sun. And
it's going to be great.
Had a blood thefting situation this morning for my veins, and I am just really looking forward to taking them back.
Yeah.
relaxing.
For those of you who know Amanda or don't, she doesn't love getting her blood drawn.
And I talked about it on here. I found a lady who does a good job.
Yep. And the lady struggled this morning.
Today was not a good day for her or myself.
Right.
So I am looking forward.
You've earned it. You've earned the sunshine
it.
and some really low key time in the sun and
relaxing.
Relaxing.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah. You're going to read a bunch of books.
So many books.
You're going to get caught up on the, what is it? Blood and Ash series that
unfortunately
maybe
I started
no
a series last night, called Guild, I think it is. And it's like basically a spin-off story of King Midas.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of great things about this series. And I was like, let me just check it out. I read like 20% of the book last night on accident. And I was like, this was a mistake because now
oh, you're hooked.
I'm hooked.
Quicksilver, I'm in the middle of. It's good. It's getting good.
Yeah.
It's starting to get
so good.
It's starting to get so good. Come on. Plus, I'm like, there's fae and sprites, like fire sprites and earth sprites and wind sprites. Oh, I'm so.
It's so good.
I'm like, I can imagine all of these little creatures and I want to be there.
It's pretty rare for me to really love a first book and then really love the second book.
Yeah.
And when that first book finished, I'm like, I must get the second book. She was like releasing it within like, maybe it was like a month or two. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like,
I can't wait.
I can't wait. So I downloaded it. And the day it came out, I read the whole fucking thing. I couldn't believe how good I just can't believe that the second one was, if not just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
Truly. Yeah. So you're in for
it's good. It's good.
It will be your new fantasy crush. He will be. I promise.
Well, he already is. The guy who's reading its voice, I'm like,
I know. I told you. I was like, are you listening to this? Because his voice is
sometimes so good.
Like from the Ash and from Blood and Ash, I had to switch over to reading it because I hated his voice so much.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
didn't
like his
sound
voice.
like a.
Yeah, I liked it better when just the woman was reading it. All the voices.
Yes.
When he took over in like the whatever series number that was, book number 5 or whatever, I was like, ooh, Castillo. I didn't like that. Voice. Yeah.
So,
but I think it's because you waited too long. Had they introduced his voice probably in the beginning, I wonder if we'd have been okay with it. But I think mentally people come up with what they sound like.
But here's the problem.
And then when he came in, I was like, oh, that's.
I did this weird fucking version from Spotify. It was like the full production one. It had like the horse clompings in the background. It was like a production. And so from the very beginning, I heard his bitch ass voice and I was like, no.
Oh, no.
But Quicksilver's what? Ooh.
Yeah, his voice, I was like, ooh, that is like silk.
Yeah. Kingfisher.
Yeah. And you can tell there's a lot of nuance about him that's coming. So I won't ruin it for anybody, but I'm kind of already know what's kind of coming. Yeah, what's coming.
Yeah, so I'm gonna read a ton. I'm gonna read a ton of just like fantasy. Like I have like one serious book I need to read for book club that I've already downloaded. But I might listen to that on the plane and then listen while I'm walking on the beach. But then I'm gonna read.
For pleasure, otherwise.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's great.
We're so excited to talk to Jacqueline, and she is a Reiki master of sorts. She has boho healing as the name of her business, and she does sound healing as well. Lots of very cool things. Her website's also very nice. I know it's silly, but sometimes I'm like, this is very cool, and I really like what she does. A yoga instructor, sound healing therapist, Reiki master, Reiki teacher, somatic breath meditation, all of those things, which I think are so important.
Yeah. And she's up north, so she's going to be joining us via Zoom.
Yep.
Because we are in the middle of a snowstorm, unfortunately. But I can't wait to talk to her. I think that all of these, how do I say this? I just feel like the witchy women of our world find ways like this to practice their craft. And whether you identify with that term or not is okay.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we're nutritionists, we're nurses, we're in these healing modalities. We're crafting our craft on people and healing people. And I think it's really cool to talk to people. Rachel Berner, who was on as a somatic therapist with us before, I think she will be our first in the series. She's coming back. She's also working with my daughter today, which I won't share any of those details, but somatic therapy is hard to find. And, you know, if you read the book, The Body Keeps the Score,
Yeah.
right? So all your trauma sort of lives in your body somewhere, and figuring out how to get it out of your body and releasing it once and for all, or to work on when it starts to creep back up, to let that energy out of your body is what Rachel specializes in. So I'm so excited for these kind of women to come forward in their crafts. And I think it's so important right now with everything that's changing in the world. The Epstein files are bringing things crashing fucking down everywhere. I just feel like we're having a changing of the guard.
I saw this really powerful quote, and I'm definitely going to mess it up because I'm sitting here trying to think about it. But it was something like, men fear that matriarchy is women controlling men, and matriarchy is a centering of women, children, empathy, and connectivity.
Right.
It's not. That's the problem with patriarchy, is it is control. Matriarchy does not seek to control. It seeks to center the things that are most important to us as humans.
Right.
And so I love what you're saying. Like, it's just like women find these roles to help bring people together and heal. And the more we can focus on that and seeing all the damage that's been done by very, very, very powerful men for how long, you know, on every side of everything, and people spiritually we've all trusted, and people who we would have never assumed would do these things, and we're being gaslit into a slow, you know, drip of this information, because if we got it all, man, I cannot imagine what would happen.
And it's causing divisiveness. And that's the whole other part about the internet stuff and the social media stuff, is that, you know, I know that I love almost everyone and can come sort of commonality with almost everyone, even if we don't agree on everything. That's okay. And yet you're made to feel like we're so far apart. We're so, you know, that is the patriarchy.
Yeah.
And matriarchal societies are communal based.
Right. Well, and
we're here to support each other.
It's
and love
protection
each other.
based.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that's really, people think the opposite. A patriarchy is not protection based. It's power. It's protection over power.
Right.
Matriarchy is literally protection. So what's happening with the Epstein files, I'm actually elated to see this happening real time on the internet right now, because it's like, oh, so there is no left or right. It's fucking right and wrong, my guy.
Yeah.
This is black and white. This is wrong.
Right.
So if you can still defend whatever you believe in, no matter what side, knowing the things that are happening to children and women, then, you know, that's not even something we need to argue about.
Right. Right.
And so this is like the boiling point, I think. And I think it's going to boil over to a point where, you know, they keep saying if everyone gets persecuted that was in the Epstein files, there'd be no government. And it's like,
good.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, it should. So hopefully everything comes around that goes around, and karma is a bitch. And you know, I do believe that people receive justice even if we don't see it in our tangible world. So I'm here for it, but I think these healers, I'm so excited to talk to Jacqueline and more people like her, because I do think these healing modalities are really important for women, especially, to really come into their power and be in a really centered, calm, loving state, because that is our natural state. But we've held on to all of these things for so long that, you know, it's just in our bodies. And so I can't wait to talk to her about that and how she's helping people. And I'm sure she's helping men too. I'm not saying this is just about women, but it's really cool that these women are showing up in these fields too.
Totally.
And Jacqueline, I'm sorry, when you listen back to this, if you hear the word witch and you don't appreciate that,
let us know. We'll cut it right out of here.
Definitely edit that. But I do identify women as witchy, and that just means that we're very intuitive and we have different talents and things and gifts that we're brought to this earth with. So
totally. And
how that comes out is different ways. So
yeah,
that's the word I give it, but you don't have to align with it.
Align or not, it's out here. So so excited to talk to Jacqueline.
So excited to talk to Jacqueline.
Can't wait. Well, hello, Jackie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today with you ladies.
And you're joining us from close to Clevelandish area or Akron area. Is that right?
Cleveland, yes, because I was going to
Okay.
travel down today and we have a winter storm advisory. So it's the typical Cleveland weather that everybody's used to. It's
Yeah.
Yes.
hitting hard. My
Yes.
kids wanted, they're disappointed because today wasn't a snow day. They've had about 30 so far this
Like,
winter.
you've had many snow days this winter,
I'm sure of
so
it. Yeah, I'm sure of it. Yeah, well, you guys have gotten more than we've gotten, and we've had plenty down here, so I can only imagine.
yeah.
Oh, really? Down in Columbus, it's traveling south
Well,
now.
not this storm. We got some. I think they
Probably
had a
like
2
2
hour
inches
delay today in a lot of school
Yeah.
districts, but not a cancellation really. I didn't hear of too
Okay.
many cancels
Yeah.
today, but yeah, we got about an inch of snow. Yeah, inch and a half maybe, something
Yeah.
like that. Not what you guys are probably getting from lake effect. So
Okay. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Cleveland and so used to this that yeah, now that my kids can't have a full week of school for the last few months because of all the snow, I'm like, come on, you were back in my day, you know. So
does Cleveland when you're close to lake effect like that, do the school districts add time onto your end? Is that pretty frequent for you where you are like, oh, we have 10 makeup days that we have to go into June with?
no, now as a
Mm.
parent, I would love that, but they just let us get stupid. Yeah,
Oh,
they let us
nice.
just they just let us have these short years and leave us uneducated. So
Yeah,
it's
they're like, you know what,
been
we've done what we can do,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. We're going to give all of our teachers their full
have
summer
a good
break.
summer.
Yeah.
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 exactly,
I love that for the
exactly.
teachers in your districts. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they're good teachers. They are good teachers.
Before we get started, we would love to know what your sun, moon, and rising sign is. And then also, we are also super into Enneagrams, so
Yeah.
that as well.
Okay, I am a Libra. With the astrological, I'm not the best. So I'm a Libra sun sign.
Love
And
that.
the lunar node, the moon sign, Sagittarius.
Mm,
Love that.
that's a nice
And,
mix.
and then Enneagram 7. So
Okay.
the enthusiast or the Epicurean, which makes me feel like a real glutton in life. It's true to the Enneagram 7. And uh, then, as you know, Sarah Wren gave me a full breakdown of my human design. I think I'm a manifesting generator. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
We are too.
We're both manifesting generators.
We're
Yeah.
both man gens. Yep.
Really making stuff happen.
Sometimes more than we should. Yeah.
Yeah.
In true manifesting generator fashion. Get bored with
And
things and be like, nah, I'm done with that.
On to the next.
On to the next.
yeah, keep it moving.
Keep it
What about
moving.
what Enneagram signs are
We're
you?
both twos.
Yeah,
Twos.
both of us.
We're both manifesting generators. We're both 2 Enneagrams.
She's a Sag sun. I'm a Sag rising.
Yep.
It's a lot of chaos here.
Leo, Sag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
We got
Those
a lot of
Leos.
energy over here.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
I always, our friend Sarah, that obviously you know as well, I always tell her I need her to be more Leo for me. You know, I'm like, look, you're being a little too toned down, Sarah. I'm gonna need you to up your Leo a little bit today.
Pump it up. Pump it up.
There, you know. So
She's a sweet angel.
sweet angel.
We love
Oh,
her. Love you, Sarah.
she's unbelievable and helped me so much to understand the human design and what she described because I had no idea. It was a lot of information for me to digest. And so she really took some very generous with her time, broke it down for me. And in true Libra fashion, so I have those two balanced, right? But they're extreme scales, right? And
Yep.
she said that I am like an Eeyore and a Tigger, which are both unlikable characters.
Right,
I
right.
know. But yeah,
Oh,
that.
I love how Sarah explains everything to people. And
yeah.
and she also chooses her explanations based on who she's talking to.
Hmm.
And it is fantastic. I've had other readings for human design not even come close to the way she is able to, we say, reading us like filth. Like she will tell you things about yourself that only you know, that you're like, nobody else knew that about me.
Right.
What do you
How?
mean? How do you
Yeah.
know that? Where'd you
Yes.
come up with that
Yeah.
from? And the way she relates it to you is very individualized, and it's a real beautiful experience. If you ever get to sit down with her and have that experience, I think it's a real gift.
Oh, yeah, her energy, just being around it is a high vibration, right? It
Yeah.
just raises your own. Yeah.
What are some other things that when you met with her, did you walk away with, like, just being like, oh, I feel like I have more permission to be myself in this way now that I know that?
I think that as you hit the nail on its head, where she validated things that only I felt like I knew myself and could proceed or navigate the world a little bit better based on that. I disclosed to her, which, you know, it's not easy, I think, even in my area of wellness and energy healing, to disclose kind of like what some people like spirit guides, or before I was incarnated, maybe memories of before I came down to earth, right?
Right.
And I had told Sarah before my human design that I had had a memory, or what, it wasn't a memory. It was just, I can't even really describe it, but it was a feeling that I've always had, and the best way to describe it would be a memory of being in a almost dark area where I sensed uh, a hierarchy almost of like larger in scale, maybe angelic presences, other souls. And I felt like almost a spirit guide, what I would say now, who was orchestrating an incarnation of this, now what I would call a soul group. Before, I didn't really have the language for it. And I had told Sarah that I remember that there was this feeling of reluctance. It was an urging of the orchestrating spirit guide to, hey, like take this on, take on more than maybe I wanted to. And I had a reluctance to it. I felt like it was going to be a big challenge in this lifetime. And I reluctantly accepted, kind of on the condition of, hey, I'm going to need your help during this. And that is, I think, precisely how I've almost navigated life. It was like, all right, if nobody's going to do it, fine, I'll do it. It's a surrender. That's more of how I describe it, would be a surrender. And she validated that in my human design. I also, with my daughter, experienced this very, I've had clairvoyant dreams throughout my life and experienced different clairs, but with my daughter, it was very strong. Knew she was coming in, felt it behind me, like she was breathing down my neck. And so when I became pregnant with my daughter, I just knew, I almost knew who she was. It wasn't under conventional circumstances that I became pregnant with my daughter, but felt like I knew her. And Sarah was able to validate a lot of that So I and after my human design discussion with her and her explanation, I've better been able to do my own energy work and know where my strengths and weaknesses
Yeah.
from what I
And so did you kind of always feel like from like a young age that you had some of this, like you mentioned clairvoyance or these dreams or like these feelings? Do you feel like you always were in touch with that? And if so, can you talk to us a little bit about that and who you shared that with? I know that's one of those things we've talked to people who said, I've always felt this way, but for a long time I didn't feel comfortable saying anything.
yes, I s- I believe that I was experiencing clairaudience, clairvoyance, a lot of claircognizance, deep knowing about myself, pertaining to myself very much so that I could this inner trust that I never doubted it. I didn't share it with anyone, I don't think, because I didn't even have the language for it. So there was communication when I was younger with, again, what I would say a spirit guide when I was younger, but also some people might just call it an imaginary friend. You right?
Yeah.
I think for children, that's probably the truth is those people around, they're talking to them and, oh, that's your imaginary friend. Yeah.
Precisely. And then as the clairs developed and changed over time. So for a good chunk of time, and sometimes still, I had clairvoyant dreams. And but it would be for a solid chunk of time. And then they might taper off and then go into clairaudience or cognizance, where you have a deep knowing about things. And I was definitely more hesitant because I was a lawyer, right? You're not sharing these things. I think it's impacting your work and how you go about life and live. And even now, I feel somewhat uncomfortable. I'm not the most comfortable talking about it, right? I can still, especially from my background, former as a former attorney, uh, but now I'm starting to share my gifts a little bit more with clients. So it's not just focused inward for myself and my own life, and that's an area of vulnerability. I think that I'm opening myself up to a little bit more. So
It's beautiful.
there's always been a hesitation, but as we all have it, and access to it. So some people reject, people don't resonate. It doesn't resonate with people. Some it does. And I've really found that it's beautiful when we all have that connection, right? Between source in whatever way that's coming through and with other people. So
Right.
if that answers your
Great.
question.
I agree. So take us back. So grew up in Cleveland. Let's go back in here and learn a little bit about you. Grew up in Cleveland, born and raised, still there in the
Yeah.
same basic area, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So grew up Catholic schools through and through, grade school, high school, college. I was always a creative when I was younger. And I joke with one of my spiritual mentors, coach that I have now, when we do inner child work, right? It's more as though I plug in to that inner child because I was so confident. I was just thought I was the shit. I mean, I can remember, I really did. I can remember telling my mom to sign me up for child modeling. I don't know. I was not supposed to be, I had no future as Cindy Crawford, but I thought that I did. I mean, I was really, really into myself.
I love this energy from you. I think that's
Oh,
fantastic.
oh, thought it was unbelievable. And uh, so went through, grade school. It was a small grade school that my kids actually briefly attended. I recently transferred them out, St. Francis, and loved school, loved learning, still love learning. And then my parents at that point, they started to have shaky ground in their marriage, right? And it still is a very nuclear family. It was heavily just Italian, tight-knit families at my grade school. And then my parents kind of started having issues towards maybe seventh, eighth grade. And which really blew up when I was in high school. So went on to high school. It was a messy marriage that they had, and it was a messy divorce that lasted years
Oh boy.
to
Wow.
resolve. Yeah, and it was a tough marriage. And then I have two younger brothers. None of us are married. I think in part probably because of what we went through with them. That was tough. But
Yeah.
loved high school, voted best personality of my my small, albeit small, high school class.
You're like,
And
I knew it. I knew I'd win this.
I told them I was awesome.
I was a shoe-in. This Eeyore Tigger balance, it came together. I was amazing. Um, and yeah, just very social. But always it had that connection with spirit. And well, I probably should back up. One trauma, which I don't think many children experience this as a trauma, but for me, it was a key developmental moment in my life. I, as the oldest in my family, right, believed in Santa Claus. It was I was the first one to receive the news, right? And the way in which I received it, I was too old to probably be a believer. And I would check in with my mom throughout the year with Santa real, right? And I'll never forget, this is imprinted in my memory. I was doing homework once, it was in the fall, and Santa real mom, she calls me into the other room and says, "The spirit of Santa is real." Right then, the dominoes began to fall, right? Wait,
No.
Santa isn't real. Wait, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy. Oh my gosh. And it didn't take me long to go, and God,
Oh,
God
yeah.
isn't
Oh, boy.
Stand to the God pipeline is
Oh,
strong.
it is
Yeah.
strong. Yeah.
right. Have you experienced it? Have a lot of people come in and said that? I feel like I was kind of, I don't know, I haven't met too many people who are that upset about the Santa, or maybe they figured it out prior to, I don't know, being 16 years old or however old I was. No, I was probably like, I want to say maybe 11. I was double digits.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, and
that,
I would have to imagine like growing up and going to Catholic school, though, and having religion being so centered too. It's like, well, if this one thing that you've been saying this whole time is true, what else are you lying to me about, mother? You know?
Well, and I'm guessing because you've been you being somebody who's been in you where you know that you've had a knowing about yourself deeply, I would probably categorize you as probably a pretty sensitive person or a pretty sensitive child. You noticed your atmosphere, you noticed things around you, you were very keen on all these things. And I have sensitive children and grandchildren too. I read the Sensitive Child book. They say, do not, under any circumstance, ever lie to a sensitive child about these things. You have to be very careful about Santa, the Easter Bunny, and all that, because when it comes crashing down, it is devastating to them. And now you've interrupted their entire world. They can no longer trust anyone or anybody. And it is a huge deal.
I feel so validated right now. Thank
Huge
you.
deal.
I really,
So for all of you out there with sensitive children, be very careful about how you word this from the jump so that when you're honest with them, you can then not devastate them. Yeah.
yes, Christy, Amanda, thank you. Oh, I feel, yeah, I haven't ever heard that, but we did with my son's father and I both decided no Santa, right? No lies about Santa. My daughter's father kind of took a different route, and so we allow for all beliefs. So I'm never really confirming, hey, you
You could believe if
kind
you
of
want.
exactly. We have room for all beliefs in this house, and
Perfect.
we're not gonna
Yeah.
have any wars about Santa Claus, but they
Yeah.
both believe different things. But it really sent me exactly. It
The
created
fact that
this.
that can happen in your house is pretty impressive, by the way, that the different kids can feel different ways and you're navigating that to be like, yeah, you can choose to believe differently than your sister, and that's okay. That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah, we've got room to think differently and to believe different things, and we have some diversity in my house. My son's black, my daughter's white. There's been some confusion about whether she's black or not. She, by on her part. I mean,
Oh, I see.
you
I
know,
see.
she want. There's been some
I love
wanting,
that. Yeah.
some
Yeah.
desire to be black, wondering if I'm
I
black. My mom is darker, so they think she might be black. And yeah, so
So you offer you're a house of many colors. We embrace all colors. We embrace all beliefs. I
right.
love that.
And
Yeah.
and to seek, based on became a spiritual seeker, I think, at that point, and evidence based. So
Mhm.
hey, it was kind of a call out to the universe, and I think helped me later in my profession as an attorney, and even my profession now with healing work, right? That I need evidence to believe in it, to do the work. And but for sure, I thought my parents, they lost all credibility at that
Yeah.
point. And because they
Yeah.
started asking about God.
You are
Hey,
dead to
well,
me now. Thank you.
yeah, it's over. It's
It's
over.
over.
Um, it was, yeah, you're in Catholic school, and well, you're just, I can remember my mom saying, well, you've just got to have faith about God. And I'm like, just like I had faith about Santa,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
Exactly.
was,
Down the road before a
This is
lady.
exactly what they say will happen too. It is a absolutely devastating blow and one that they cannot recover from because they desperately needed the protection of their parents as sensitive children, and the sanctity of that in their household is really important. And because they understand nuance and they sense it and they have deep knowings about things, that if you tell them something that becomes untrue and you intentionally deceive them, it will become the undoing of them in a big way. So it is a major T trauma for them to understand that, because it takes down the whole deck of cards.
yeah, it feels good to hear that, because yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah.
But truly, in the big picture and the big grand scheme of things, it's kind of set me off on a course of trusting myself, trusting my experience, and being observant. There was also some hypervigilance. I think that when you're betrayed, you do become really attuned to any sort of lying, uh, and trusting people and trusting yourself, because you whenever you're betrayed, I think there is this deep, questioning of yourself and your own perception of reality, right? So there was a journey that set me off on this journey. So there was a lot with Catholic schools that I had a good experience straight because I went from St. Francis to NDCL, a local Catholic school, to the University of Dayton. That was Catholic. And a lot of the things that people struggle with in Catholic schools just went right over my head, didn't let it bother me. I had room for, all beliefs, all different religions, and that was my experience through Catholic schools. And
It's interesting too that you had that, let's call it a canon event, a Santa Claus canon event, in your life that then prompted you to be a truth seeker, right? But you also could hold space for different beliefs around that. And then growing up with religion and, I would say a lot of people would say a strict religion, being Catholic, there's a lot of uh, things that go into that. And then choosing to do law. I find that very interesting.
Well, you're wanting proof. Now
Yes.
motherfuckers, you gotta prove some shit to me. Okay? I don't believe any of y'all now. I need proof. I'm gonna be an attorney because I need proof.
and the rules, the only rule that
the
I've
rule.
operated was that there are no rules. I did not, I mean, I was in trouble a lot, right? In school, I did well. I loved learning, but as far as rules went, those went out the door. I had very an authority. Again, you kind of you're wondering if these people know what they're talking about, and so
Do you remember when you decided to be an attorney? Like that moment where you're like, I'm gonna be an attorney.
it was because I had had a passion for creativity and art and writing. So that was where I was headed. And then before going off to college, I remember I was chosen by one of our art teachers in high school to go on a career day. And I noticed that all of these places we were visiting, graphic designers, they were behind computers all day. They weren't painting, they weren't doing the hands-on art that I wanted to do. And I felt as though my strength really resided in my creativity as opposed to a specific area of art. So I went in undeclared at the University of Dayton. But right before that, I had worked for my mom's divorce attorney, which was interesting in and of itself. I remember my dad offering me money to steal his file.
Oh gosh.
That gives you some insight into.
Oh gosh.
I
We had some
didn't.
inside info.
Yeah, I didn't steal the file. I had some ethics back then. I had some boundaries. So I remember Mary Joseph Clare, the attorney that I was working for, saying that she really enjoyed being a lawyer because she felt felt privileged to have people come to her in some of their most difficult times. Usually that's when people need an attorney, and it was a privilege to help them in those darker times and help them find a way out of whatever mess they were in. Right? I was born on the Feast of the Guardian Angels.
Okay.
So I've always felt a deep connection with guardian angels, archangels, and this affinity for protecting others, advocating for others. And when I worked for Mary Joseph Clare, I saw that, right? With her work with clients, where you're kind of stepping up to the plate and you're really guiding them, guiding and protecting them during difficult times in their lives. So I think it was around that time that I started to seriously consider law. And then I went to the University of Dayton undeclared, but loved political science, which is a soft science that many attorneys major in, and traveled abroad through the honors department. I went on one trip to Morocco and then another trip to study the High Court in Australia. And really, then my passion grew for the law and seeing other cultures and the way that rights and laws, how they operated, especially in Morocco, where, it was an Islamic country. It was the summer after 9/11, and how religion came into play with their laws, how women were treated there and their culture. So I developed a passion for that. Probably in the background, my dad, who is a very achievement-based man and has kind of been a big figure within my life. His two brothers, he's from Chicago, were lawyers, were then judges. They've since retired. Another was a politician. So I think there was also that in the background. So
For sure. And so when you decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do, did you feel the pull and like I guess, the separation of what you were spiritually in tune with and that creative side to practicing law, or did you feel like they complemented each other?
I think that they complemented each other in some ways. The creativity was still there. I operated, and I practiced in different areas. So, especially on the civil litigation side, and when I practiced for myself, right, it really operated a lot based on instinct, running my business. When it came to strategy, you operate a lot on instinct and creativity. You write a lot, and I loved the writing aspect of it. I felt very confident in my ability to write and reading and research. And some people, especially, I worked at a smaller boutique firm that represented plaintiffs, blue collar workers against huge companies, right? But they did asbestos work, welding rod work. I then had to co-counsel later in my career with a former Jones Day lawyer who was very fancy and operated as a plaintiff's attorney working against huge corporations. You're sort of in the Wild West, right?
Yeah.
You're going up against the big guys, and I don't want to call it guerrilla warfare, but it's not as buttoned up.
Yeah.
The attorneys aren't as buttoned up, which I loved, because I wasn't this polished professional. That just wasn't ever going to be me. So
Say more about that. Say more about that.
I am not a polished, classy professional. I'll give you an example of something that happened early in my career at that first firm. So I worked through law school. After my first year, I start clerking at this firm where I ended up staying for a long time, right? The boutique firm. And the head partner was a very successful man who had practiced this mass tort law against these big corporations. And I mean, private jets. The man was smart, and he was able, I saw, to be himself and go up against these big firms, these big corporations, and be successful. And I'll never forget working there over the summer, and I heard it was a female partner at the firm, and I'm, typing away, and, a little bit, I'm new, I'm then fresh out of my first year, and I hear her say, "You call that cunt back and tell her to go fuck herself."
Oh boy.
And
Boy.
right. But I really thought, like, all right, I've kind of arrived with people. I found my people. I just made it more free. Gave
Like,
me
well, damn, she's getting
permission.
away with that. What can I get away with?
Right. Yeah, and I was voted best personality. It wasn't based on I was constantly pulling pranks. There were no rules that I had to abide by. I just thought, I was playing fast and loose for most of my life, right?
Got it.
And
Got it. Yeah. So you like to be
so
yourself in all fashions, and I cuss, and I want to be myself, and I don't want to have to hold my tongue if I don't have to, and I want to be around people who are the same.
yes, and
Got
even now moving into healing work, many people have this air about them that these high vibration, but you've got to bring yourself to it, right? So
we talk about this at length at times. It feels very, the health and wellness space can feel very, white woman, just like peace and love and light. And it's like, hey, healing is messy and gross and weird and hard, and it can't always be this vision of beige with a wide brimmed hat. You know what I'm saying? Like, healing isn't that.
no.
no. Think guttural crying, snot running down your face. My world is coming to an absolute end.
That is healing.
That's healing.
Yeah, that was very, especially with my mental health crises that came later, that switched, where I switched careers, that spurred the switch of my career from attorney to healing work. Oh, that was ugly. Everything that preceded that was wild.
Yeah.
So how did you get to that space? You were attorneys, you were with a group of people that you identified with, and then lead us down that path of, I've got to stop being this now and I need to switch. Had you known that early on? Had you been living in a couple of years of not of knowing it and just hadn't made the call yet, or take us down that road?
While I was working at this Wild West rodeo of a firm that was great. It was fun. I had brain surgery when I was 29. And that was when I first was introduced to Eastern healing, receiving it, right? Because the doctors, I had struggled for a while and was going through this testing, and they missed a plum-sized skull tumor that was pressing on my, I know, when it was on a CAT scan, and then later I had an MRI where they eventually discovered it. And I can recall actually my dad, it was the one of the few appointments that my parents went to with me. And he was like, he looked at me and he was like, how did you not know? How did you not feel this? Right? Because it was in the back of my head. It was big. So that too created some distrust, right? With these doctors who couldn't figure it out. And so that was when my healing journey started, as far as, hey, I'm not Western medicine. Okay, I'm going forward with the surgery, but definitely complementing it and pursuing Reiki and all different sorts of Eastern options in my late 20s. Then as I progress in my career as an attorney, I'm seeing it about like 35 years old. I had been living a bachelorette party, right? Without having a wedding. I mean, I was dating, had no plans, never thought about a wedding in my life, or getting married, or having kids, and just having fun and footloose and fancy free. But yeah, at about 34, 35, I start seeing women colleagues, right, who are married, trying to have kids, and they're struggling. I'm seeing people having miscarriages, in vitro, trying for years, because we're all doing this later in life, given the career path we've chosen. Most of us are getting married later and having kids later. And I just thought I better get on it. And so, being the Enneagram 7, impulsive, and also Myers-Briggs, and ENFJ, or ENFP, I have no judgment, basically. It tested perceptive, no judgment. Just, in all of the,
you just act. You just go.
Yeah, I'm shooting from the head, just whatever I'm feeling. And the only other, they'll say, okay, Nelson Mandela has your personality type, Mother Teresa. Mine was the Little Mermaid, Jar Jar Banks from Star Wars. I had only fictional characters. Balky from Perfect Strangers, if you remember him.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
my group wasn't solid in terms of judgment. So I started dating. I kind of had in the back of my head, I better get on this, having kids. Because I decided, all right, I think I do want to have kids. But I don't know when I'm going to find a guy to do this with. And started playing fast and loose in that respect, and ended up dating my son's father. He's a really smart guy, but it was funny, after it was our third date and I get pregnant. the first time we have sex.
Oh gosh.
Oh, classic.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. It was great.
This is what I said.
And yeah, it was wild. So my parent, it's not like anyone in my family knew him.
Did you have
And
intentions of that? Like you were like, hey, I really want to have a baby. I would really like if that happens, or this was a complete accident. Just happened to be around the time that you thought I should maybe think about having a child.
you know what? I've got to admit, not too much thinking went into it. It was, it was this, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, all right, that I'm getting to this point where I'm seeing other people struggle, and I'm
If it happened,
becoming, right, I was unintentional. I wasn't really operating from a thoughtful place of intention about
yeah.
my future, right? I didn't have too many guardrails in that respect. I think based
Yeah.
on my parents' marriage and what I thought about marriage and conventional family structures, I had guardrails in my career that kept me on track because you're a lawyer, you become an associate, you become a partner, and that keeps you on the straight and narrow to a degree. But with men, I didn't really have that. So I get pregnant the first time we have sex, and uh, I just thought, like, let's give it a go. I guess it was a very, um, and he was very supportive. There was never any abortion, even the possibility of not having my son never even came up. Uh, and I'm very into accountability. So I kind of recognized I created this situation, and we moved in together. And that was my first trimester. I had always had an elevated mood throughout my entire life. Very happy, gregarious, but there's mental health issues that run in my family. And that first trimester, I became very despondent. And it felt, this was a spiritual experience in and of itself, but it felt like the veil between life and death had kind of thinned, or between a soul coming in or a soul going out had very much thinned. And I can remember feeling just a very strange, in a very strange state during that time. Over the course of that pregnancy, moved in together. And after the first trimester, my mood was better. And I did experience, we didn't find out the gender of my son, but many dreams about the gender of my son. And so it was pretty, I mean, considering we were strangers, right? My son's father and I, it was considering, and it's a difficult experience, right? In the best of cases, sometimes pregnancy and childbirth and postpartum and all of that is difficult. And I found that that became a problem in those years where I was having kids, because there was no baseline where my son's father knew me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the past, I had been wild. My nickname was Wacko Jacko since high school, right? So I was always acting crazy. But going into pregnancy, just where your moods are changing and my body was changing, uh, he didn't have, we just didn't know each other well enough, right?
No.
And towards the end of that pregnancy, I remember I had a dream that I had a daughter. I was giving birth to a daughter, and that I had looked to my right and it was with a white man. So it was a real, and during this time, I was having a lot of those dreams where I could rely on, or that would give me insight into things that were happening. So it was a little, I get nervous, or, at the time I was in love and there was a foreboding feeling. So end up having my son and struggled. Now I can look back and say struggled with postpartum issues at that time. And my mood never really bounced back to where it was before having my son. About a year after my son was born, it was somewhat of a mutual decision. His father and I went our separate ways. And I can remember the difficulty in that, right? And also now I look back at how this unstable environment or situation that I created for a child based on probably my personality and the way I had operated probably throughout my life. And also after seeing my parents and what happened with my own family, I didn't trust conventional family structures. That was for sure one. I didn't trust it. What had happened in my own family, I didn't want to duplicate it. So we break up, and then not long after the breakup, I met, it was one of my best friends' husband's best friend. So they fixed us up on a blind date, and I start having these feelings about my daughter. And I'm working now part-time as an attorney at a different firm. And it was a wild experience with how I felt before my daughter incarnated. So I'm having dreams about her. I'm feeling like that feeling when someone's right behind you, breathing down your neck. I mean this in the kindest way to my daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
She was eager. She was ready. I'm ready to come in, Mom. Let's go.
Yes. It very much felt like that way. And I was dating her father for a few months and playing fast and loose, but not quite as fast. And I'll just be honest with you. I was using the pull-out method.
Right.
Right?
Right. Right.
And I don't know if you're going to have
Not
to
always
edit
super
this out.
effective. Not always super effective.
Not always. Hey, it worked wonders for me in college.
Right. Right.
I was doing for a while that was fine, but my luck ran out. Well, no, because I was lucky to have her. So, I can remember a mood shift at the beginning of that pregnancy. I became, instead of despondent in that first trimester, I ended up feeling like enraged. It was a huge I had never felt that way before, and took a pregnancy test, and sure enough, uh, I was pregnant with my daughter, and that resulted in a cascade of, I think, mental health issues. And again, I was set up where, her father didn't really know me very well. We ended up getting married, and again, it was a real Balky moment, a real Little Mermaid, Jar Jar Banks or whatever, Banks, where I'm just like, all right, well, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'll just
Um,
give marriage a shot.
Sure.
Get the first one
It,
under the belt, you know?
yeah,
Totally. And there.
exactly.
Yeah.
We gotta start somewhere. What's the worst that could happen? Which
Right.